It has just been confirmed by the CW that Colton Haynes is returning to Arrow as his portrayed role of Roy Harper, aka Arsenal. Now this is a very important thing. It's been teased at for a while, but now it has finally been confirmed by CW officials that he is coming back to Arrow, and I think that all of us fans are pretty excited for this. So, Roy Harper, if you don't know, is a character from Arrow. He was introduced in Season 1, he was in Season 2, and in Season 3 he actually became a member of Team Arrow as Green Arrow's sidekick Arsenal, or the Red Arrow, whatever you want to call him. And he was an amazing character. Everybody, I think, instantly loved him. He was a really great character, also had so much respect for the team and Oliver, which led to him actually taking his place when it came to the Green Arrow being arrested at the end of Season 3, and he went away. Now, Roy did return in one episode of Season 4, which was easily one of the best episodes of Arrow Season 4, where he was kind of being forced to work as a lackey for Felicity's father, otherwise known as the Calculator, and Team Arrow encountered him in the field and basically turned him back to turn against the Calculator together. Because Roy Harper, he wasn't a bad guy in that, he was just working under somebody else who was kind of forcing him to do so. And that was a really cool thing to have Roy back for that episode, and it turns out we are now getting him back in Season 6 too. So we are getting Roy back in episode 15 of Season 6. We don't know anything about this episode, but we know that he is going to be around for a small arc, which is a bit vague, but that should be around 3 episodes. So I believe Roy Harper will be in episode 15, 16, 17, and potentially 18 as well. I feel that he may be in episode 15, but it'll be like a post-credit tease thing where somebody is on the phone saying, "Roy, we need you." But a 3-episode arc I think is about right. So my opinion on this matter is I am over the moon about this. Roy Harper has always been one of my favourite characters on Arrow, and I've been pining him to come back full time. Now obviously I know the reason Colton Haynes left the show was a very personal reason, and I respect that decision. But I just love Roy so much, and now that Colton Haynes is getting back into acting, you know, he was in American Horror Story, he returned to Teen Wolf, and now he's returning to Arrow, I am just pining him to come back as a series regular, although I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon whatsoever, which is a shame, but I'm so happy. So why could Roy Harper return? Well, we have been told by the CW that Roy is called back to Star City to deal with a situation that involves high stakes for the team. So this could mean any number of things. You know, that is quite a vague synopsis, but there are a couple of other reasons that link back into that could help us understand and try and uncover why Roy is being called back to Star City, because there must be something pretty monumental going down if they have to bring back in Roy. I think an obvious one is that Team Arrow just needs the support, because obviously we know in Season 6 Team Arrow is going to be going up a big team of villains, or going up against a big team of villains I should say, and because of all the conflict that's going on in Team Arrow, I could see Oliver being in the situation where he says to Diggle and Felicity, look, we need somebody on this team who we know we can trust, so he gets on the phone to Roy and says, Roy, look, we need you. And Roy is going to come back, and I think he's going to fight alongside to take down these big villains, although for 3 episodes might be a bit less. What I mean by that is if Roy is going to come back to take down this team of villains, why is he only going to be around for 3 to 4 episodes? Because if he was needed to take down and help take down this entire team of big bad villains, if he's only going to be around for 3 episodes or so, that's going to be completely irrelevant, because he's most likely going to be gone before the collapse of this team. I mean, I imagine by this point he'll maybe help take down 1, and probably 1 will be down already, but it may seem just a bit irrelevant to have him around for that long. Now, another one which I think is a lot more of a likely option is that one of these villains, or maybe not even necessarily a villain on the team that we know already, but a completely new villain, has a specific link or connection to Roy, which Oliver realizes and says, right, if we bring in Roy, we can maybe help take him down or help reconcile this guy in some way. And they need Roy's help on a more personal level, which could also happen. I think that's a lot more likely. I feel that this arc that Roy's going to go through is going to be a lot more of a standalone, disconnected story. Now, Roy coming back and then leaving so quickly is actually allowing the writers to do a couple of things. One is an easy excuse to write Thea Queen off the show. The writers have really struggled with Thea ever since Season 3. They pretty much made her a vigilante in Season 4 just to make her a big part of the show, and then in Season 5 she was just the mayor's assistant. In Season 6 she's been pretty much out of commission until the last couple of episodes. So this could be the perfect way to have Roy come back, and then him and Thea get back together, and then they go off again together. Just easy. And then this is also an excuse to write Roy off the show, because although we all love Roy, and you know, I don't think people dislike him in any way, I certainly don't, but it's just the position his character is in means that the writers always going to have to bring him back once in a while, and I feel if they just use this excuse to have this as like the final crescendo for Roy and just send him off the show full time so we never really have to deal with him again is an easy way for them to do it. And then you can also, like I said, write Thea off with that as well, which gets rid of her and eliminates that issue. It just works. So even though I just said that they'd write Roy off the show, well, what's the future for him? Well, for one, I feel that even if he is written off the show, that doesn't really mean anything. You know, John Barrowman has been written off the Arrowverse, but he will most certainly be back. Wentworth Miller announced that he was leaving the Arrowverse, but he just announced the other day that he is returning to the Flash, so that was kind of irrelevant. So even if Roy, and indeed Thea, is written off the show, that doesn't mean they can't come back to Arrow at some point. You know, if Arrow is ending in the next couple of years, which I think is definitely a possibility, we will see Roy again for sure. Also, who's to say they couldn't put Roy on another show? I mean, he is definitely a potential for the Legends of Tomorrow. I mean, I could see him putting on the Legends. I didn't include him in my video, but I feel that he could also be a pretty good choice for the Legends if Arrow has nothing to do with it. And like I said, if they're writing him off Arrow, doesn't mean they're necessarily writing him off in the Arrowverse. I feel that they could put him on Legends. I feel that's a lot more unlikely, however, but I think Roy still has a potential future in the Arrowverse outside of Arrow itself. So, Roy, not entirely gone from the show, I don't think. In conclusion though, I am so excited to have Roy back on Arrow. Like I said, he's one of my favourite all-time Arrow characters. I think he's absolutely fantastic, and I have been pining for this character to come back onto the show, and the fact that the CW have answered my prayers and are bringing him back for even just a small story arc makes me incredibly excited for the future of Season 6. And I am so glad he's back. Colton Haynes is so good in this role, and I'm interested to see what this story is that's going to have him called back to Star City. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me if you are excited to see Roy come back and how you think he may be involved in the story. What do you think is going to happen with him after this story arc? There's plenty of questions that come with this announcement that maybe make you theorize about plenty of different things that involve many different characters, and I think that's exciting. So, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you did. It helps me out a lot. It shows me that you guys are enjoying the Arrowverse content. And I hope to see you guys again in my next video.